Hey y'all, I'm Austin, and this is Sad Boys Anime. As you all know, there's a lot of shows this season. I went ahead and watched at least the first episode of every single one of them. This video is a list of all the fall 2020 anime that I personally think are not worth watching. Some of them are short, but some of them I go into more detail about what I didn't like, especially if I was expecting more from it. As a disclaimer, this of course is my own personal opinion, and it's totally okay if one of your favorites are on this list. We may just have a different taste. With that, let's get started. First up, we have King's Raid Ishiwo Tsugumono-tachi. All I have to say is we have a boring fantasy show bingo card filled out here. Childhood friend, dying king, CG towns, orphan children, and racism. No thank you. Next. Warlords of okay, whatever. You get the point. Humans are waging war on magic because of course they are. This 12-year-old god turns into fucking Merlin to prove to the American Round Table that he's a god. His daughter flies a plane. A bunch of unnamed random soldiers die and we're supposed to give a shit about it. Then you meet more girls who, guess what, fly planes. I have nothing against girls flying planes. That might make a fun anime, but in this one, it doesn't. It's boring and there's no backstory for any of the magic stuff. It's just not really my kind of show. Let's move on. All I have to say about Assault Lily Bouquet is, come on, Shaft, you can do better than this. There are a lot of quality people working on this show, and somehow it still ended up being boring and plain. Each of the girls has a different hairstyle, but that's all they have going for them. I couldn't tell you a single one of their names. The CG monsters are ugly, I don't know any of the lore, and it's expecting you to know. Fight scenes happen so slowly that it's laughable. I think that's enough. Next. Okay, so Tonikawa Over the Moon for you. This anime is just straight people get married, but one of them is an alien. That's it. That's all it is. These characters are not memorable. If you want the cute alien girl saving the main character from death thing, just watch Waiting in the Summer. You can do so much better if you're looking for cute heterosexual couples doing straight people things. Let's talk about Hypnosis Mic. This one is a little bit longer because I wanted to like this show. Where do I even start? Okay, so women rule the government and weapons are outlawed. These women are called the Party of Words. I think it's trying to be a commentary on male violence against women, but it's such a goofy plot and I genuinely can't tell if the people who made this are making light of such a serious topic or if they're genuinely trying to bring attention to it. But I also have no idea if I'm just looking too hard at the show because I'm trying to understand it. I don't know. Y'all, let me know down in the comments if this is something you thought about too. Okay, so back to the plot. Ever since weapons were outlawed, fights get resolved using literal microphones and having rap battles with them that do physical damage. There are 4 different groups who are really powerful. Mad Trigger Crew is my favorite. They seem to have the best chemistry with one another also. I'm not exactly sure why police exist in this world when they're not doing the rap battles, and they have to have other people come in to do anything. Another thing is, what up with the gang stuff? Sure, aesthetically this show is really cool with the cartoon colors and graffiti style, but I'm not sure why they keep making gang shows like this. It just seems kind of weird, and I don't understand it. But again, I guess I like the aesthetic, so what do I know? The first group we come across look like different Pokemon evolutions of each other, and they're really boring because of it. They should have just made really cool music videos, because clearly that's what they wanted to do. Just take the plot away, and this could be a really cool album released on YouTube with their own video attached to each song. I think that would have been more palatable and unlike anything we've seen before, which would have drawn attention to it. I'm not exactly sure where the show is going to go, if I'm being honest. It seems like they don't know what they're trying to do either. To be fair, this anime was made from a game that isn't translated into English. So the fact that it was distributed to English audiences is pretty cool, I guess. I feel like I'm kind of reaching for things to like about this anime. Overall, it just isn't sure what it wants to be, and it's not helping its case at all. I don't think I'd recommend this show unless you don't care about the plot and you just want to see the actual rap scenes. I like the designs of the characters, but it's just not enough for me. Let's keep going. Our Last Crusade, or The Rise of a New World. This is supposed to be an enemies to lover story, apparently. I didn't get any of that in this episode. This Elsa ass motherfucker trips and the main guy catches her. And then they look at each other. They had no chemistry, so it was really pointless. It's not offensively bad, but I honestly was just really bored. Not even the action scenes make up for it. If you're gonna do an enemies to lovers thing, I need you to bring something unique to the table because the trope is so overused. So this one's gonna be a pass for me because it didn't draw my attention. Up next is I'm Standing on 1 Million Lives. Okay, so we have another generic isekai anime, but it has enough going for it I can see it being popular. It's not really my kind of show, so that's why it's on this list. I have an edgy character bingo for this one. We got I hate everyone, I prefer to be alone, smiling maniacal look, blood in the first 30 seconds, and calling a very normal city a shithole. There are places in this world that are bad, but this is literally the most clean, functioning city they could have shown us. Honestly, there's almost no animation and character designs that don't stand out in any way. They skip over all the parts that could be actually entertaining, like figuring out how to defeat the goblins or running away from the troll. These isekai anime just aren't my thing, and I have yet to find one that I've actually liked, so take this with a grain of salt. Let's go on to By the Grace of the Gods. First of all, that marker-ass background art, the color design, the character design, no thank you. Also, how do you make an ugly slime creature? I thought it was impossible, but they managed to pull it off. The implications of a 39-year-old man becoming an 8-year-old boy just feels really wrong and gross to me, especially in the context of having an 11-year-old girl as an obvious love interest. I don't want any part of it. Moving on. Iwakakuru Sport Climbing Girls. So, this one could have been good, but it's just boring. The characters don't speak naturally to each other. Also, they're climbing super slowly because they have these long monologues. The characters are all really horny for rock climbing, and it's making me pretty uncomfortable. Listen, I'm bisexual, but these girls just don't do it for me. I just don't like these designs. If you're really into rock climbing, you may like this show, but I personally am just not feeling it. I'm sorry to say it, but we have to talk about Love Live Nijigasaki Gakuen School Idol Dokokai. Listen, I don't want to get cancelled over this, but the Love Live animes aren't that great, okay? Let me make it clear, I really like the franchise, and the rhythm game is great. But the animes generally are only good if you already like the characters or the game. The first one was enjoyable if you can get past the CG dance sequences, a hard thing to swallow, I know. The second iteration was just a carbon copy of the first one for the most part, so there you go. But this third iteration, I really like the character designs of the girls, and the music is really good, but the writing in this episode is just non-existent. A lot of it just does not make sense. Anyway, so listen, I love these new girls. They're all gorgeous. Ai is best girl. But this anime is kind of weird. I don't really understand the direction they decided to take with this one. I'm all for a let's get the band back together type of storyline, but these two weren't even in the band to begin with. Also, it's weird that we don't see the characters forming their connection together. They all already knew each other. I guess we're supposed to see how these two main girls form connections with them, but you don't even really know these two girls. This show makes it hard to care about them from the get-go, which is problematic for what's supposed to be a character-driven show. I don't understand why these anime are never given good writers who are capable of making adaptations. At this rate, they're just half-assing their adaptations, and I don't understand why. I know that a lot of the fans are into the characters and will watch these shows anyway, like me, but I would vastly prefer having a better storyline, and I know everyone else would too. Maybe if these anime were better, you'd be able to draw in an even bigger fan base. The ending has really cute art. Maybe it would have been cool to do animation shorts with that style art instead. I don't know, it just sucks being a fan of Love Live and not getting it adapted well. I was hopeful for this one because the animation and art is actually way better than it's been in the past. The show looks different for the first time in 4 seasons. But sadly, good art doesn't make for a good story, as we have seen time and time again. On a different note, does everyone else get homoerotic undertones? We should petition to make the Love Live girls canonically gay, cause seriously y'all, it's already there anyway. Also, can I just say, these schools are always crazy. Like, they're so big and pretty, and I wish my schools looked like that. Overall, this show was not good, but it looks so cool, and I'm disappointed. If you like Love Live, you might find something in this show you can enjoy, but if you're not already a fan, you're probably not going to enjoy it. Up next is The Day I Became a God. So, this is another anime this season where Odin is a small child. She's loud and obnoxious, and I have a headache just listening to her. Not sure if this is a hot take, but she's not even that cute, y'all. This girl's motivation makes no sense. She's a god and can do magic and shit we only see in flashbacks. Why is the story set in a plain-ass world with a character like that? Why is she bothering to be here when the world is gonna end anyway? Go watch a better PA work show. This isn't worth your time. Sure, it looks good with the lighting, but the character designs are boring and the writing is not worth sticking around for. Anyway, I'm moving on now. Taiso Samurai. I'm gonna preface this with how badly I wanted this show to be good. Again, I know I've been saying that a lot, but it's true. I freaking love the character designs. Mappa really has the aesthetics down for this show. So after all this effort, why would they open on a CGI scene and then follow it up with several minutes of 2 characters we don't know anything about talking to each other on a couch? Then we get a jump cut to a scene with him praying at a shrine for his dead wife. They could have just opened on this scene instead. We could have watched him being conflicted about retiring despite the fact that his manager is suggesting he do so. They could have even showed a flashback of his injury and the newspapers talking about it in the same situation. It would have conveyed the same message in half the time and done with a much more emotional tone to connect the audience to him. He's saying that he has to retire to take care of his daughter, and then, by the end, he decides he will retire, and is trying to tell his daughter. And then he's like, LOL, JK, I changed my mind. That's not character development. There's no point to this. Then there's the ninja kid, and we know nothing about him. Nobody's asking him any actual questions, even though he could be a danger to his daughter. It just makes the story even more convoluted than it already was. The plot is all over the place, and the pacing is terrible. One last thing I had an issue with is that they're avoiding using actual animation. There are too many scenes that are just still images, especially when it comes to the actual gymnastics. They animated the ninja park scene, but that was just one small part in the whole episode. Overall, I'm just upset because this could have been a really good, and certain scenes are actually really intriguing, but none of it is hitting enough marks for me to recommend it for y'all to watch. Let's move on to Dropout Idol Fruit Tart. Okay, where do I start with this? This show made me feel like they think I'm stupid. They had to introduce the characters the exact same way like 5 different times. And they kept going with the joke about that one girl being short. Like, okay, we get it, she's short, please move on. This show seems like it's trying to have a Love Live level cast according to the transition scene with the silhouettes, but they spend the whole episode on only 4 characters. Nothing really happens in this episode. And it seems like the whole show is just going to be them trying to be idols and making money. Mickey Mouse looking Sailor Moon over here is the only one that I just don't like the design of. The rest are actually pretty cute. If you're into cute girls and idol anime, then you'll probably like it, despite the lack of anything going on. I think it would have been better seeing them do their actual jobs, like modeling and acting, and watching them encourage each other and improve over time. Anyway, this one's a pass for me, but if you're into the designs and you don't care much for a really in-depth story, you might like it. For the last one on my list, Magatsu War Height. This show is clearly trying to be something big, but I was turned off immediately by the Universal logo and the background characters dying in a goofy-ass way in the opening scene. This whole city is supposed to be getting decimated by a crazy light, and we see a handful of characters getting crushed silently. Nobody's running away, no one's screaming, it's really awkward to watch. It's a hell of a way to open a show. Not in a good way. The monologue afterwards is meaningless. The OP is boring. It isn't showing us anything about the show, it's just colors and lines. The only good thing about the whole show is the music. And y'all should already know by now, this ain't enough for me to enjoy a show. Where's the writing? Where's the aesthetics? Every face looks off-model in every frame, even though there isn't any animation going on. It's not like I'm pausing mid-action scene and there's a weird face. It's literally on still images. It's trying to be Code Geass without mechs, but it's ugly and doesn't introduce the world or characters in a way that's nearly as interesting as that. I don't play this game, so I didn't know what to expect going in, but this doesn't make me interested at all. You'd think they want people to get excited and download the game, so they'd try a little harder. But what do I know, I guess. Alright, so that's my list of worst anime from the fall 2020 season. Do you disagree with any of these? Were you looking forward to any of these shows like I was? What are you planning to watch this season? Let me know down in the comments. Check out my best of fall 2020 first impressions video if you want to see my favorites so far. Remember, I post every Monday. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Happy Halloween, y'all.